All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Today, we're going to be starting what is hopefully going to be a bit of a series where I cover some topics related to Unity development and C Sharp programming. And to start off today, I'm just going to be showing you the basics of how to get Unity installed, how to set up Visual Studio to work with Unity, and how to create a script. And we'll go from there in the next video, but this will get you set up for basically everything you need for the most part to start at Global Game Jam on February 3rd, I believe is the date. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is pull up a web browser and just go to, you just search Unity, and then go to unity.com, and we're going to want to download Unity and hit download for Windows. And now, as you can see here, we have Unity Hub set up, which is the installer that we need, so save that. And my internet is really slow, so once this download finishes, I'll show you what to do next. But Unity Hub is the hub for everything to do with Unity. This is where all of your projects that you use Unity for will be, and this is where all of the editor versions, the different versions of the Unity editor that you use will be. And I'll show you kind of what all that is and what that looks like in just a minute. And then I'll be back once this finishes downloading. Alright, so once your download finishes, you'll see the Unity Hub setup installer here in your downloads folder or wherever you downloaded it to. And just double click, give that a run. These are the terms of service. If you would like to read all this, you can, but you know, just agree. So you can install this wherever you want to. If you're low on space, you can probably still install this on your main drive or whatever your fastest drive is, because Unity Hub itself is not a very big program, and you can always configure to download the multiple gig editor versions in a different location than wherever you install Unity Hub. So I'm just going to leave mine for installing on my C drive. So I'm going to install. And wait for this to finish installing. Alright, and then once that's complete, we'll see completing Unity Hub setup. We're finished. Go ahead and check this box that says Run Unity Hub if you haven't, and then hit Finish. And there we go. Just go ahead and allow that access. And close this. So click on this profile looking thing in the top left, and then you're going to want to click on Create Account. And this is going to open a new tab in your web browser, and it's going to ask for an email, a password, a username, and a full name. I already have one. This is attempting to autofill in mine, but just go ahead and do this, and once you do, hit the Create a Unity ID. Obviously do the CAPTCHA as well. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. Alright, and once you're signed in, it should bring you to a page that looks like this, that has all of your information on it. And once you have that, you can just go ahead and minimize your web browser and then go back to this profile looking thing and then hit sign in. And this is going to prompt you to a web page where you're going to want to open in Unity Hub. And then once you do that, you should see your initials here, or if you have a profile picture set up on your account, that'll show up there instead. If that doesn't work, let me know down in the comments or shoot me a message on Discord, or if you're in GDC, come by on the meetings at 7:30 on Thursday, and I will help you get it sorted out. 7:30 p.m. I guess I should say. All right, so now that we're signed in, you can go ahead and minimize your web browser. Now that we're signed in, this is your projects page, and because I already have a lot of experience making Unity projects, there's a lot of things here. Don't worry if you don't have anything here. This is normal to not have anything there, and starts you off here in the projects tab. There's also the installs tab, the learn tab, and the community tab. You don't really have to worry about these for now. If you're curious, you can go check them out. But for now, all you need to know is the projects and the installs page. Okay, so once you're under installs, you're going to want to install an editor version. So click on this. And from here, we can select a lot of the different versions of Unity. By default, they're going to pull up these long-term support versions. These are versions that Unity will continue to support and update for the foreseeable future, so they're relatively stable for you to build on. They don't have very many bugs. So I would recommend choosing one of these unless you have a specific version. If you're working on a team project for a class or something like that, and the instructor is saying that everyone needs to be on this version, you can look for that version. But generally, if you're just making your own project, use one of these LTS versions. Now, I already have one installed, but I'll go through what the installation process should look like. So I'm going to hit install right here. And you're going to want to check the box for Microsoft Visual Studio Community 2019. I cannot check that box because I already have this installed, but there should be a little box right here. Just check that. And then there's a bunch of different boxes down here, and these are all for the different ways you can build your game. So at the end of your project, when you want to build your game into a single .exe file for people to run and play, you can build it to a lot of different platforms, as you can see. Unity has a lot of different support for a lot of different things. So what I would recommend is just downloading the Universal Windows Platform Build Support. Man, that is a mouthful. Just start by checking this box for now. And you can always download more of these later if you decide you need them. But just for getting started, just go ahead and download the Universal Windows one. So make sure you have that one checked, and you have the Visual Studio Community 2019 checked as well. And as you can see, just the editor and the build support alone is taking up quite a bit of space. So you want to make sure that whatever drive you install this on has a lot of space available. Really quickly, I'll show you how to change your install location for editors. So you go to this gear here for preferences, and then go to installs, and here you can choose a path for your downloads for the Unity editor versions. So mine is an F storage Unity. Obviously you can click on this and change it to wherever you want to go if your main drive just does not have enough space. So going back, make sure you have Visual Studio Community 2019 checked, and you have the Universal Windows Platform Build Support checked. And then you're going to want to hit install. And I'm not going to do that because it's going to take a really long time, and I don't really want to do that. So I'm just going to close this. It will open you up to this downloads page, and you'll see where it has like downloading Visual Studio, downloading the Unity editor, and then downloading Windows Build Support. And then I'll have to install all of those as well after it finishes downloading them. And sometimes I have had problems where it just randomly like misfires and downloads a corrupted file. If that happens, just try it again. Usually, whenever that has happened to me, it's only happened 1 or 2 times ever to me. And whenever it has happened, I just restart it maybe 1-2 times, and eventually it will work. If it doesn't, again, you can come talk to me either on Discord or at a GDC meeting time at 7:30 p.m. on Thursdays. All right. So, assuming that you have now installed an editor version successfully, you're going to want to go to Projects and just go ahead and start a new project. And from here, you can select the editor version you have. For me, I have a lot of different versions of the editor installed, but you will probably only have one if you're following this video. And then you're going to want to choose a template as well. And there are a lot of different templates that you can do, but what I would recommend is either doing 2D URP or 3D URP if you're making a 3D game, and then obviously 2D URP if you're making a 2D game. And these are not set in stone forever. You can change these once you've started the project, of course, but if you already know what you're making ahead of time, if you're making a 2D game, select the 2D URP, and if you're making a 3D game, select the 3D URP. There are a couple different options, of course. There's 3D HDRP and like the 2D core, the 3D core. Generally, I would not recommend doing this. URP is going to get you a couple more features that I'll be talking about in this tutorial series. So if you will follow along with me, just make sure that you do a URP version for either 2D or 3D. So I'm going to go ahead and select the 3D URP button. And as you can see here, we need to download the template. Just go ahead and do that. It shouldn't take super long. Yeah, there you go. And now you'll be able to select a project name. So I'm just going to call this tutorial project. I cannot type. And then you can choose an install location for the project. I'm just going to leave this on my E drive. And make sure, again, that this is a drive that has a lot of space, because Unity projects tend to get quite big. They can grow over time as well. So make sure that you have a lot of reserve space available. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit Create Project. And when you first start a project, it's going to take a really long time because it's going to have to build the Unity libraries, which are a kind of a set of files and programs that you as the developer will interface with through Unity, and will make your entire development experience just a lot easier. But it's really big. It's like multiple gigabytes. It's, you know, the size. It's the majority of the size of the editor. So it you know, kind of creating those and downloading them will take a minute. But after it does that for the first time, it will not take nearly as long to start up your project. And so even on my computer, which is pretty good, this is going to take quite a while, probably at least like 5 or 6 minutes. And so I will cut back whenever that is finished. All right, so once that's finished, it should pull up a window that looks like this. I'm just going to go ahead and maximize that. All right. So the first thing that you want to do is make sure that Visual Studio, the IDE that you downloaded earlier when setting up your editor version, you want to make sure that that's linked to Unity, because it doesn't do that by default a lot of times. So you want to go to the top here at Edit, and then go to Preferences. So you're going to want to go to the External Tools tab here, and then under the External Script Editor, make sure that Microsoft Visual Studio 2019 is selected. By default, this will probably be opened by file extension, which is not what you want. And then come down here and hit Regenerate Project Files. All right. Now, after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and get some things organized for the rest of the tutorial. So down here in the Assets window, this is where all of your files for your project will be stored for Unity. And it's really important to keep this organized. So I'm going to right click down here and then go to create. And then there's a lot of things here, but at the very top, there's something called folder. And this is just like, you know, a normal folder in Windows or whatever OS you use. And I'm going to call this scripts. You can call this whatever you want to. But personally, I just like always calling this folder scripts. This is where all the code that we write will go. And then you can double click to enter that like I did. We're going to put all of our scripts in here that I make for this series, just to keep things organized. So I'm going to show you how to make your first script. Come down here into this window again, right click, create, C# script. That's what you're looking for. Just click on that, and now it's going to let you name this whatever you want to. So I'm just going to call this test, because we're not actually going to write anything in here. We're just going to make sure that the Visual Studio attachment is correct and show you kind of what that looks like. Alright, so once you do that, it would pop up a little window there for a second. You kind of saw it while it loads things. And now that you have made this, you can see on the side here, it gives you a little preview of what's inside there. But to open it, all you got to do is just double click on it, and you see this Visual Studio pop up. And once Visual Studio loads, alright, now you'll see you have this window here where you can begin programming in C#, and it gives us a little explanation for some of these built-in Unity functions. I'll go over more of that when we actually start scripting, which may be next video. I'm not sure if we're going to get into that yet. It'll mainly be me explaining kind of some of the concepts in the editor, but we may get to a little bit of scripting then. If not, it'll be the third video. But really quickly, just to test if your IntelliSense is working with Unity or not, just go anywhere in here. I'm going to go on line 10 in the start function and just type transform. And if this auto-completes for you, like it's doing for me right now, then you'll know that Unity and Visual Studio have been attached together and the IntelliSense for Unity is working. If it's not, and you went up here and you went to edit and you went to preferences, external tools, and it still says this, go ahead and hit regenerate project files again just to make sure you did it right the first time. But if it's still doing that, it's likely that you have installed Unity and Visual Studio on 2 different drives. And if you have done that, then it will not work. You will need to uninstall Visual Studio and reinstall it wherever you installed this Unity editor version. If you're following this tutorial, that shouldn't have happened to you, but you know, I can never really know for sure. Sometimes Unity decides to do a weird thing. So if this is happening to you, like I've said a couple times before, feel free to contact me on Discord or at a Thursday meeting, 7:30 p.m. in Wilson 119. But if this is working for you, if Visual Studio is auto-completing for you, great. I'm glad that you made it through the video and everything's working fine. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for this video. Next time, I'm going to go over how to work in the Unity editor, all the things you can do, and kind of the basics of how you move around in here. But if you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you were able to set everything up. And if you have any problems, again, feel free to contact me on Discord or at Game Development Club, 7:30 p.m. Thursdays in Wilson 119. And also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of the tutorial videos as soon as they're uploaded. I'll also be pinging the Game Development Discord whenever there's a new upload. But also, you know, feel free to subscribe. It'd make me kind of happy. But that's pretty much all I got. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.